Alright, hey guys, so I know yesterday I promised that well maybe not promised, but I said that I was going to make you guys a tutorial on how to make GIFs. I got quite a few questions about it, and rather than explain it a million times, I'd rather just make a video. It seems a lot easier. It is 6 in the morning though. I've been up all night, and I worked 11.5 hours yesterday, so I'm rather tired. So bear with me just a little bit. We'll see how this goes. Um, Anyways, in order to start, you of course want to make, or rather find a scene that you want to make your GIF from. In my case, I went ahead and went with Barney's magic trick from How I Met Your Mother.
Do you like magic?
I guess. Oh my god!
Okay, and basically you can get that from your own personal collection. In my case, I just went on YouTube and found it. It was rather easy. I just downloaded it straight from YouTube. Wasn't very complicated. You do want to edit it down though, being that it is 12 seconds, that can easily lag out any editing program, and even more so with any 5, 10, 30-minute movies. So you do want to trim it down first using some kind of editing software. In my case, I'm going to be using QuickTime. So to do that, I simply just go to trim, and I'm going to go ahead and full screen this so that you guys can see it a little bit better. But basically, you just want to drag it to where you want the GIF to start. Roughly, of course, you guys can tweak it or change it a little bit once you're in the final editing. And then create your stopping point, hit trim, and you can see that's just a second or two long, not very long at all. And then once you've gotten that created, and there are a ton of video editing programs out there, Sony Vegas, and I'm sure Windows has a handful to choose from, so I don't presume that that's going to be too much of a problem. You can usually find trials or demos of some of the bigger ones, just so that you can make a few, see if you like it, that kind of stuff. Once you've done that though, go ahead and select File, Save for Web. Do not select Save As, that will not give you what you're looking for. If you select Save for Web, it's going to allow you to save it as various file types of various different sizes. So once you've saved it, it doesn't take very long typically, but I have one already, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to edit out of the video. You can see here there are 4 different video types that created for me, so that will ensure that I do have one that I can work with. Once you've done that, go ahead and open up Photoshop or any other video editing program. There are free 30-day trials for Photoshop, so if you just want to play around and experiment with it, you're more than welcome to do that. So what you want to do is select File, Import, and then select Video Frames to Layers, and then go to the file wherever you may have located it, and then select, it should be the only one that's going to be allowed. It's going to allow you to open it. Again, for Windows, I'm not sure what the file type needs to be. I know that with Macs it does need to be QuickTime Movie, which is just abbreviated with .mov. Go ahead and open it up, and I'm going to simply say from beginning to end because I already have this edited to the size that I wanted it. Now if I use that full 12-second video, I could say selected range only and edit it within Photoshop, but I would rather not do that. And then you can do this, which I would recommend, but just to show you the process, I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to upload the full 2-second video for you. It doesn't take very long to import, and once you've done that, you can see it creates a whole ton of layers, and in order to do and work with any animations, you're going to go ahead and need to display that window. And again, you're just going to find that under Window, under your main menu, and then select Animation. Once you've selected that, it's going to bring up this toolbar down here. And again, you're going to see all these layers, but displayed as frames. As you can tell, there are quite a few. 58 is far too many, so you do need to get rid of them. Tumblr has very conservative guidelines as far as what it'll allow you to upload. In GIF's case, it's a 500 kilobyte file. No, I don't expect you to know what that means, but just know that it's not a big file type at all. So you do want to edit this down to, give or take, about 16 frames depending on how big you make the image. I'll go over that in just a minute. In my case, I will edit it down to 16 frames. So to do that, I'm simply going to select every other frame to start with. And it's going to be rather boring while I'm doing that. So bear with me just a moment. And once you've selected those, go ahead and delete them. The reason I select every other frame is just because there's really not a noticeable difference between two separate frames, and even more so if I had the in-between one. So in doing so, it doesn't do too much harm. Again, if you look, we still have far too many frames at 39, so I will go ahead and delete another half of them. And when you're doing this, you can delete every other one. That's just the way I like to do it, or you can go through it and look at each frame, and some of them you'll see are awfully close to in resemblance, so you can simply delete the ones that look rather like duplicates. That's just fairly time consuming, but again, it's really up to you. In this case, I ended up with 14 frames, which is perfect. And as you can see, you can still tell what's going on. It's rather fast now that you've taken out most of the frames, since each frame is displayed at the original frame delay that it was originally created at. So you do want to slow that down just a little bit, and I'll explain that in a minute. But to start with, I do want to edit it down to, again, fit Tumblr's conservative guidelines. So to do that, I am going to select image, and I'm going to adjust the canvas size. You can do the image size, which just, can't think of the word. It keeps the image, but makes it smaller. I can't think of what I'm trying to say right now. I always work with canvas size, though, and I do work in pixels. You don't want to make it any more than 500. The smaller you make it, the better, but I usually stay around here, and with height, you want to keep it around 200, so that's exactly what I'm going to do here. And again, you can still see what's going on, so that didn't hurt what you're trying to do at all. And then lastly, what you need to do is ensure that forever is on as far as your looping method. If you select once, it will simply go from start to finish just one time, 3 times exactly what it says. Start to finish 3 times, and then it'll stop, and forever it will just keep looping, which is exactly what you want to do. Next, again, you want to slow it down. So to do that, you need to select all the frames. You can do that one by one, or there is a shortcut up in the top right hand corner of this animation window. Simply select all frames. Once you've done that, go ahead and go to the delay, and you'll see it's at 0.04 seconds, which was fine when there was 56 frames, but because there are now probably 1/3 of the frames, you want to go ahead and just make that a little bit slower. At 14, 16 frames, I noticed that 0.07 works fairly well, but anywhere between 0.04 and 0.07 is what you're looking to use. Once you've done that, you can see it did get slowed down just a little bit. And then lastly, what you want to do is go ahead and save your project so that you can show the rest of the world. And to do that, you want to go ahead and again select save for web and devices, and then that'll pull up various versions of your GIF, the original and optimized version based off of these constraints. And then what you need to do is edit it down to where it's under 500 kilobytes. Again, that is just the file size. To do that, you can adjust any of these settings, make it black and white, drop the color scale down instead of using one of the lower ones. I don't recommend using any of the smaller ones unless you're using black and white, but if you're going to be using color, you want to stick around 32. And then what I actually prefer to do, and this, as far as I'm aware, maybe other programs have features like this, I don't know what it would be or where to locate it, but you can optimize to a file size, and that's the 500 kilobytes that I keep mentioning. So if you do that, Photoshop will actually do all the work for you and adjust the settings accordingly to create a file under this size or right around there. So go ahead and do that, and then if you just want to hit preview, once that's done, it'll load it up into a web browser. You can see exactly how big it is, and it'll list the details for you. In this case, we did manage to create one under 500 kilobytes, just barely, but that's perfect. So once you've done that, go ahead and simply select save. Name it however you want. It's completely up to you, of course. Nobody's going to know. And then once you've done that, again, you can see it's one and the same. And then the true test is uploading it to Tumblr. If you manage to meet all the requirements, it should display without stalling in any way. So go ahead and upload it. You may want to do it privately, just so that you can see if it works or not before you jump up and down and show the rest of the world, so to speak. So yeah, there we go. And it does display, so that's exactly what we're looking for. Again, I hope this video tutorial helped, and thank you guys for following. Alright, peace.